Thank you so much for tuning in to the Golden Whiskers Podcast. Now, today I've got two special guests, Jae and Adrienne. You might know them as the two crazy cat ladies. They're total legends in the cat world, feline wellness warriors, social media favorites, and proud cat moms of five. God. So, today we're talking about something all cat parents face at some point, and that's stress, cat stress, that is. So, we're going to talk about what causes it, how to help, and why it's not as complicated or as expensive to manage as you might think. Jay and Adrian, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
Sky,
you
you are the
so
best.
much for having us. We're very excited to be on your podcast today.
That was quite the intro, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I could have gone on and on, but I try to do the abbreviated version. But let's initially talk about your cats because what else is more important than that? I know
Right.
you said you have five cats. Can you give us maybe a rapid fire intro to each of them, name, age, any quirks?
Yeah, absolutely. So our Black Panthers are 7 years old. They are Friday and Zorro. Our and they're a sibling set. Our next oldest are 5 and also a sibling set, and that's Jack William and Madison Grace. And our youngest is about, and they're 5. Our youngest is like 2.5, I think.
Okay.
And her name is Annie Olivia. And they are all very quirky
Yeah.
in their own beautiful and unique ways. They have lots of personality, if you will.
I love it. Yeah, so be honest, who is the troublemaker in your crew?
Annie.
I would say Annie, the youngest. I mean,
Okay.
that
She's
happens, right? The
yeah.
youngest tends to be the most mischievous, and
Oh, yeah.
and she
She
seems
is
to
she
be
has
that
a set
way.
of challenges she's presenting us with.
Yes.
It's to put it nicely. Right. I love it. So really kind of let's dig into our main topic. We're talking about feline stress. What does feline stress actually look like and how can we actually spot it?
That's a good
question.
question.
You have a cat there.
This is
This
Madison
is Madison Grace.
Russell.
Hey, Madison Grace. For those watching the
That was
video, hello. What a
Here's her
beauty.
She's a sweet
Yes.
girl.
She's
Yeah,
sweet.
so feeling anxiety is it can be actually difficult to stress or to spot, right? So a lot of the common symptoms you'll see, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I have a really high stress cat," because if the doorbell rings, they hide. They are really quick to jump at noises and things like that. You can tell those normal symptoms of stress, if you will. However, what a lot of people don't know is that if your cat is sleeping all day and not playing, if they're refusing to play, that can also be a sign of stress because cats are meant to be active, right? Um, if your cat's going outside of the box, it can be a sign of stress. It's not always just that they're being little a-holes. Like it can also be a sign of sickness, right? So all of this can. But there's a lot of little things that we don't necessarily think of that can be a sign of stress in our cats. And so I think it's in stress being the leading cause of disease. I think it's very important that we pay attention to our cats, what they're doing and how they're reacting and how especially if there's a change of behavior immediate, like a sudden change of behavior. I think it's really important to understand that this could be a sign of stress and address it as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like, something that they may do repetitively that sounds like it could be an issue, such as over grooming, going outside the litter box, aggression, those sort of things, versus just like a loud noise and they like jump a
Right.
little bit. Those are different issues, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's like that chronic stress kind of thing when you realize that there's a cat that's operating, or anytime there is that change where they're not eating as much, or it's just cats are stoic, so they don't want to let you know when they're freaked out about something. It's one thing to jump when the doorbell rings because they don't like strangers or something,
Or
stranger
they're not
danger,
used to that
or they're
noise.
not used to it, right? It's another if, that like something like over grooming, or, they always eat breakfast. Now they're not eating breakfast. Well, then what has changed? Has something changed in their environment? Are they hiding more? It's just, as cat parents, it's always about following the clues and doing our best to be observant when we are bringing a change into the home, whether it's a change in our schedule or a change in their environment or a new piece of furniture, something simple, kind of observing how our cat responds to it and doing our best to make them a part of something that we're excited about. Communicating with them can oftentimes just be helpful in letting them know, oh my gosh, the couch guy's coming today, or we're getting a new mattress. And
it's the roofers are going to be here. We're getting a new roof.
Or power washing like I have.
Yes.
Right. But I know like the vet, like my vet will always ask me like, has anything changed lately in terms of on my end, not necessarily their end. Like, hey, if they're presenting with something, they'll ask me what's, if anything is different. And that way they can kind of dig into what might be going on. I know you've said that you get a question a lot is what is like the cheapest and most effective way to reduce stress in cats? How would you answer it? What are some of these ways to manage it and reduce it?
Well, I'll tell you the cheapest, freest way to reduce stress and in cats is actually exercise. So, it unfortunately is one of those things that is the most overlooked thing, the enrichment part of our cats' lives, because we live such busy lives, right? Like we also are guilty of not playing on a regular basis or not, offering our cats the exercise that they need as felines. And it's the same with humans and it's the same with dogs. But getting out, like getting our endorphins going and running reduces stress. It's been proven time and time again. And all we really need to do is engage in playtime with our cats on a regular basis, especially if there's some stressful events happening around the house or change going on. Then engaging with our cats and getting them into an exercise routine is really the easiest, fastest, and cheapest way to reduce stress.
I just want to add playtime. Like we think about it as playtime. And I think that's why we can be dismissive of it when we're too busy, because it's like, oh, that's just a fun recreational thing. But it's so much more than that to our cats. It's literally giving them a chance to exercise their feline instincts. And I will always remember Dr. Marcy Koski saying, cats are born to hunt. They're predatory beasties. And when we're playing with them, air quotes, we're giving them a chance to, notice if there's something moving, like they're going to start stalking it. They're going to start paying attention to it. And then they're going to be like, then they're going to go over in their little hunting place and watch. And then the chase is on, right? And it's like, but
what's called the prey sequence, right? It's
as in hunting their prey. So that is really, it's an incredible way, not just to bond and reduce stress, but to let them exercise their feline instincts, which results in them feeling like they're accomplishing their purpose in life in a lot of ways. And that does help reduce stress. So that is definitely, and putting that on a routine, that's where we're really struggling right now with 5 cats, because when we play with them,
a crazy schedule.
When we play with them, it's easy to recognize, group play can be wonderful. And it's a great place to start if you can. But you'll notice that some of your cats may certainly prefer individualized play sessions. It makes sense because cats are solitary hunters. They're not solitary beings. They love their community. They love their family.
But when hunting,
their instinct is, they're not pack animals. They are meant to hunt alone. So then finding the time to do those individual play sessions can be the challenge.
Yeah. But routine is key. And that's another thing that is also free and can reduce stress in cats. And that's also been proven by a study at Ohio State University, that putting them on a routine really helps to reduce their stress and helps to reduce their disease markers. So when I say routine, I mean, feed them the basics, right? Like feed them around the same time every day, right? Scoop their litter around the same time every day and do that play session around the same time every day. And if you can work in, even if it's only all you got is 5 minutes that you can do it, if you can give them something to look forward to, and it's like mealtime is at this time, they will let you know if you forget, by the way, because they can tell time better than us.
Knows that.
I was about to say that. My cats know, hey, like it is 4 o'clock or whatever the time is. Like
Yep.
Where's my food?
Yes. When
Yes.
time gets away from us, they start coming to us and they're like,
Mm.
all of a sudden we're like, what's going, oh, we forgot to,
I'm a minute late. Sorry.
exactly.
37
Exactly.
seconds
We
to
didn't
be
know it was
precise.
lunchtime already.
Right.
Jeez. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's, it's really important that they have something to look forward to. So putting them on a routine is really also, you're already feeding them, you're already scooping the litter. Hopefully you're already playing too, but just giving, making sure you're doing that at the same times, as much as possible, then keeping them on a routine will really help reduce their stress.
Yeah. And that study really showed that what cats that are used to a routine, when their routine is disrupted, they exhibit sick behavior, even though they're not physically ill. But that is what stress can present as,
Mhm.
whether that is yowling, whether that is, we call it in our house, if we're 30 seconds late for a meal,
Breakfast.
they'll get hangry and
Yeah.
there'll be intercat issues.
So do
Right.
I.
I say, so I think that that's fascinating that it's actually been studied. And so it is one of the freest, easiest way if we can look at our schedule and be like, all right, so I'm going to do litter box first thing in the morning. Then it's going to be breakfast. Then it's going to be a little play session, or litter box, play session, breakfast would be
Whatever it is that works around your
whatever
schedule.
works on your schedule that you can do on a consistent basis can really help them realize, oh, we have this to look forward to. And I'm going to go take a nap while I wait for that to come.
Yeah.
I know you alluded to it. We talked about it. You have 5 cats under one roof. So keeping the peace, right? And managing stress in a multi-cat home can present its challenges. I've got 2 cats, so not quite as, tied. My hands aren't quite as tied up in the cat life as yours is, but how do you keep the peace? I know you mentioned maybe some of them are better in a group setting. Some of them are more, they need more individual attention. Is it just being really observant and seeing what they need? Or what are some of those tricks that you all use with 5 cats?
Yeah, that is,
Every cat is an individual.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think some of the basics for recognizing that every cat has their own special personality. And yes, spending that time to build that bond relationship and get to know your cat's personality is invaluable. Some basics, though, that can be really great, especially in a multi-cat household that we have found, are making sure that there are, as Jackson Galaxy says, many lanes of traffic, right? Like we have upstairs and a downstairs. We have Annie Banani, and her sister Friday. I do not necessarily love to come into contact with each other. And if they find themselves in a head-on collision, that can result in Annabelle turning into a twirling dervish and screaming. So that can be a problem. Having other lanes of traffic, like in our home, we now have the regular stairs that go upstairs, but we also have a catwalk that goes all the way around the great room.
So they have another
they
way
have a
to
way
get
to get
upstairs.
upstairs and another way to get downstairs.
Right.
So vertical space, different lanes of traffic. Do you have cats that like hiding holes? Do they prefer vertical space? Do they want a hidey hole up high? Like getting to know what your cat likes and providing as best you can an environment that gives everyone a little bit of what they prefer.
Yeah. And I think it's also, it's so important for us as the humans to control our own stress. And I know that's difficult for a lot of us, again, with busy lifestyles and busy schedules. Yeah. I'm right here. I'm actually probably the highest anxiety in our house, but it is like you can literally see the difference when we are stressed out. You can see the difference in our cats from when we are having our like phones down Sunday, where we disconnect from the world and we're not looking at the time and on the notifications every second of the day, and when we are peaceful. Our cats are a different type of, they carry the stress of their humans.
Mhm.
So it's so important for us to
Be
really be cognizant, because we've been in this industry for, just in cats specifically, for 10 years now, and we have seen time and time again, when you have someone who is really high stress, like not doesn't even recognize how high strung they are, and their cats dealing with stress induced illnesses.
Mm.
And it's kind of like I wish there was just like a magic potion I could, give people to like,
Really.
I'll calm you down and we can solve your cat's issue if I can just calm you down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point, because a couple of the other interviews I've done, one that I'm remembering, Melissa Sherman of Calming Creek, she really talks a lot about, you know, before you come into the household, take a deep breath, bring the calm down, sit with your cat for 5 minutes and do a meditation. Those sorts of things can make a difference. And what I've noticed is the things that we're all telling us are good for our cats are good for humans too. Exercise, right? We
Correct.
can exercise will reduce our stress. So we can do the same things for us that we're doing with our cats and make the whole household a better place to be in.
Yeah, you could even go as far as taking a shower when you come home. If you know that you have had an ultra stressful day at work, say, right? Like you are just next level stressed out. The studies show that our cats physically smell the cortisol that we release when we are stressed out. So coming home, taking off your clothes, taking a full shower, one that will also help relax you a bit.
Mhm.
But taking a shower and washing off all of that cortisol, maybe taking your deep breaths when you're, in the shower, can also help to keep your cats calm when you're, at your max
Yeah.
on a stressful day.
Yeah. Do you all do your cats go outside? And if so, do you feel like that plays a role in helping to reduce their stress?
I do. Our cats now have a catio, which is great.
That's something I want. I can't where I live currently. That'll probably be the big reason I move, to give my cats a better home.
Yeah, it took us a really long time to finally get a catio built.
Yes.
We
It's not cheap.
Yeah, it's not cheap if you're going to build it custom.
Good one, yeah.
Have, smaller ones that that we were using before, where we would take our cats out in the stroller and then they would get to go in the smaller catios that you can purchase, and they're pretty easy to put up around if you have a yard. But walking your cat on a leash is also, a harness is also a great way. But outside, I mean, our cats are meant to be outside. We take them in because we want to keep them safe. And the studies show that, cats that live outside live to be like 3 to 5 years max, and inside they're living 15 to 20 years. So we want them to live the longest life possible. We don't want them to be exposed to um, dangers in the wild, like, predators or cars or, toxins that we don't have control over. So supervised outside time is a great way to help reduce stress and just give them that exercise and that mental exercise even, right? Like it's very mentally stimulating to smell the outdoors, to watch the birds, to see that even the grass moving and the bugs on the ground and things like
Oh
that
my
are
God,
very
I just
enriching.
love bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you don't have a catio, all is not lost either. I mean, there are some really great companies out there that are building super cool window perches that will, you can customize for whatever your space is. You can get those bird feeders that you can put up near a window, something that, open windows with secure screens. Make sure you do your screen check before you open a window. Um, Another great way of giving your cat some fresh air and some extra enriching stimulation.
Yeah, I love it, because I've been opening up my windows and they're screened in, and it's just funny when like birds are flying by, they're like making that funny chirping noise, and they're so attentive with creatures, or just like an insect like you mentioned. They
Yeah.
just love that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Um,
shows just their hunting instinct. It's
Yeah.
always on. It
Yeah.
is just always on.
Yeah.
So
But we want to give them access to that so that they can have that enrichment as well, that mental enrichment.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, like whenever I move to my next home, the big thing I'm asking, the companies about the house that might be for sale is like, hey, can I build a outdoor catio space? Because I need something for my cats. I don't care about me. Right. What about aren't there like like plugins that are supposed to be helpful, like maybe emit something that calms our cats down? What
Yeah.
about those?
Yeah. So we've heard great things about pheromones. There are pheromones that you plug into the wall. There are pheromones that you can spray. And we've heard great things about them. We haven't necessarily seen much of a difference in our cats over the past 20 years, trying those on and off when it comes to stress. But we have heard that,
Right.
for some cats, it's really an individual thing, so
Yeah.
some cats are going to react great to a pheromone. Probably, you know, if you have less cats in the house, I would say. I have no idea, but
Mm.
Maybe.
maybe maybe it's the opposite. But yeah, those are great. There's some natural. I mean, it's a great way to like naturally calm your cat. There are some natural remedies, like some natural supplements also that are really helpful. We have one that's called Cat Calm, and it's made of 21 different herbs, 80 different herbs, 21 minerals, and 7 exotic plant extracts. So it's also very herbal. It's not a sedative, so it's really nice to just be able to take the edge off whenever we go out of town, or they're going through a stressful event like roofers or construction happening at the house, and they're getting the cat foam a lot. There's also CBD. There's lots of natural things that we can do before resorting to, if your cat's really stressed out, before resorting to chemical medications, which unfortunately, the feedback we get from those is that they tend to make your cat like a shell of their former self. So
Mhm.
it's like, oh, my cat was really stressed out, so I gave him the Prozac, or I gave him the Xanax, or whatever it is. But now he's not even the same cat. Like, he doesn't want to play. He's just sleeping all the time. He's groggy. So it's, there's other things, options that we can try first.
Yeah, and I've again kind of going back to a couple of the other experts that I've interviewed have talked a lot about essential oils and herbs that you just kind of put down, or even color therapy where cats react positively to a certain color. Have you all tried any of those?
Yes.
All of the
And
above.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
if,
the herb gardens are really, really, really great.
Yeah.
so dried herbs and with color therapy, like you can do them both. But I love it, brings up a really great point. One of my favorite behaviorists, Pam Johnson Bennett, said it's so important to give our cats choice,
Yeah.
so that,
Yeah.
for everything down. I mean, litter boxes, right? Even if you have one cat, you should have 2 litter boxes, because a lot of cats prefer to pee in one box and poop in another. Choice, right? And so with these really enriching things like an herb garden or color therapy, you're laying down different colors, or you're laying down different herbs, and you're letting them self-select
What
it is that they need.
Okay.
And it is fascinating.
To watch your
Yeah.
cats self-select, and it's so fascinating when you have multiple cats too, because we usually use one big rug, right? So, and then we'll put down, and around that circular rug we'll put down the different herbs. Some are calming, some are, I mean, every herb has like a different property. So there's a lot that are calming in different ways, but we will watch our cats just go around and they will sniff each one of them, right? And then they will come to the one that they want, and sometimes they'll lick it, sometimes they lay on it, sometimes they lay next to
Roll in
it,
it.
sometimes they roll in it like it's catnip.
Eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. And most of the time, our cats want different herbs
Mm.
from one herb garden. Like, each cat wants a different herb. So it's like very interesting to watch them
Yeah.
self-select. But, giving them a choice is also a stress reducer.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I love watching them roll around. That stuff is just kind of fun. And again, that going back to the playing off on how it can help us, like if we're watching our cats have fun rolling around, that I think that helps our mood, right? It puts me in a
Yes.
good mood for sure.
Yes, it
Yeah.
absolutely does. Cats, I think a lot of people are like, oh, and I've heard people say this, I have high blood pressure and go get a cat, because
Mhm.
the cat's purr is known to reduce,
Mhm.
all this stuff. That's awesome. But also, let's be considerate of this beautiful species that has their own things that bring them comfort and
Yeah.
enrich their lives and stimulate them mentally and emotionally and physically. So it is, cats are mystically awesome creatures, and it is amazing what they do for humans.
Mhm.
It's also equally satisfying to provide some of that same enrichment for them.
Yep.
Yeah. Some cat parents may be using products that stress cats out that they might not know about, maybe cleaners, air fresheners. What are some common things to avoid? We talked a lot about toxins in the feline wellness summit. I've stopped using candles. Candles might be thought of, hey, it can calm the household, but
Right.
enlighten us, for those that maybe didn't hear that interview, what maybe are some things that we should avoid that could be stressing cats out unknowingly?
I want to say number one thing is going to be scents, and that includes scented litter. Like, please never use a scented litter.
Yeah.
That is for us. Cats have 200 million scent sensors, and that is far above and beyond what we have. I think
And
we have
they
about
don't care.
40
They don't
million.
care what their poop smells like.
No.
We do.
Right. So scented litter, air fresheners, a lot of those have so many flip over anything that you're using in your house as an air freshener, as a cleaner. And if it says, if ingested, call poison control.
Yeah.
Most every cleaner or aerosol spray or anything will say that. And
Mhm.
yeah, spray it in the air. And our cats with their very,
Our cats ingest it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Our cats are
hot
ingesting
patches,
it.
They're looking, yeah.
Right.
bloodstream.
And that
They
goes for
groom
the
themselves.
scented plugins, the air fresheners, the candles, some essential oils. Like, you really want to be careful with your essential oils, because there's a lot of, it's such a
Synthetics.
fad out there that there are a lot of synthetic essential oils, which are basically just like synthetic fragrances. They're not true essential oils. And with those, they can be very toxic to our cats. The cleaners that we use on the countertops, on the
Floor
floors, all of these things, like if we're using chemicals, we are building up chemicals in our cats' bodies, and that will cause inflammation and stress. So that's a big thing. Thank you for bringing that up, because that is a thing that will cause stress. Also, food, right? Diet. If we're same with us, if we are eating a very high carbohydrate diet, if we are eating things that are unhealthy for our bodies, we will be more stressed. Your doctor will tell you that, right? Your doctor will say, if you're at high anxiety, you need to clean up your diet, you need to exercise more, like these, very simple, basic things that we need to know. The same goes for our cats. So if we're feeding our cats a high carb and starch diet, meaning a dry food, a kibble that's high in starch and carbs, that's low in the foods that the ingredients that they actually need to thrive, then they also will have more increased stress if we're feeding them.
Let's wrap up with a quick lightning round. All right. We'll make it quick. We'll make it fun. Whoever wants to blurt out the answer. What's in your cat's bowl? What are you feeding your cats?
Raw meat.
Raw meat. Okay. That was easy. Any specific type of meat that they prefer?
We rotate meat. So right now they're eating venison, chicken, rabbit. I think that's on this week's rotation.
Yeah.
It's just those three, but
It's commercially prepared, balanced. So
Yes.
it's more just
feeding them raw meat. But yeah, but if we're doing it fast, raw meat's in their bowl.
right.
Yeah, perfect. Favorite enrichment toy or DIY activity right now?
The bird.
Oh,
The
what is it?
Toy.
As
It's
a one toy.
D,
Oh,
D as in dog, the bird. And
okay.
it's a one toy that is.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. Which cat wakes you up first in the morning?
Jack for me.
Jack for her, Zorro for me, our two
Our
boys.
And final one, last thing you Googled about cats.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I was looking up permethrin, I think was the last thing I was looking
Yeah.
up. Yeah, we were talking about it's flea season, right? And so many conventional flea medications are brutal. They're very toxic.
Yeah.
Insecticides or pesticides. Permethrin, though, is one that is used for dogs. And there are people that make the mistake of thinking that they can use that on a cat. And it's something that is incredibly toxic to cats and can lead to death. So
Yeah, we spend a lot of time. We spend a lot of time looking
part
up
of the
side
fun.
effects for cats.
Oh, yeah, great idea. Gosh, Jae, Adrienne, you two are like walking cat encyclopedias. You make it so much fun to listen to you or watch you. So really appreciate it. Before we go, I want to give you the opportunity. Tell us where we can find you, learn more, and join your cat loving community.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us on our website at twocrazycatladies.com. That's TWO crazycatladies.com. You can also find us as the Two Crazy Cat Ladies on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And then we try to stay as available as possible. We have a text number. We answer DMs ourselves. So we are, constantly in the cat community. Reach out to us anytime.
I love it. And you do live videos as well?
Yes, we do. Every Monday night is our Q&A. on all those platforms, all said platforms. And then Wednesday night is our podcast called Back in the Closet, where we record every Wednesday evening on Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah. So it's live and then it's posted to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will link up all of your accounts to the show notes here, and just wanted to thank you for your time and doing what you do to spread the gospel on cat wellness. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate your time today.
Scott,
thank you so
much for
much.
what you do.
You're such
You
a
are
pleasure.
absolutely awesome.
And thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Yeah. Everybody, whether you've got 1 or 5 cats like Jae and Adrienne, just remember cat stress is real. So is the power that you have to make your cat feel safe and loved. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, please forward it to a fellow cat lover and maybe hit subscribe and rate us. A 5-star review would help. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. Bye, everybody.